Alright, I'm going to do a quick tutorial, show you how to use Illustrator, some basic things in Illustrator. We are going to use the laser cutter to cut out a letter that will be used for our monogram concrete. So I'm going to go up here to File, New. Some things you want to put in here is your name. So I'm going to call this Morrison. I'm just going to call it concrete because I'm going to use it for the concrete project. I'm going to go down here and I'm going to make sure that I have inches as my units. So you can have the drop down, pick inches, and then change this to 12 inches and 12 inches. That'll be the size of our slab. In the advanced mode, if that's closed, hit the advanced arrow and change this to RGB and click OK. Alright, you have a white space here that's 12 inches by 12 inches, and all we're going to do is we are going to create a letter, and then we'll choose a font that looks good or you think will work well. We are stamping this letter into a concrete slab. So I'm going to pick something rather bold, things with real skinny tiny things I'm worried might get stuck or might not leave as good of impression. But you never know. You can try any font you want. So I'm going to go over here to the Type tool, and somewhere in space on the piece of paper, I'm going to do a capital letter M for my last name. I'm going to highlight it, and I'm going to just make that a little bigger so I can see it. So I'm going to send it up to 72 point. So I'm going to slide this bar over to the left, which will move my picture to the right. That'll give me room to be able to see. Up here underneath the Type font, I have all the different fonts that I can choose from, and you can play around. Right now it looks like it's on Myriad Pro. I can choose another font and you get an idea of what that looks like. Highlight it again to change it. I'm going to use, I've already looked at a bunch of these, I'm going to use Minion Pro, and I'm going to make it bold. So that's what the letter is that I'm going to look like. And I'm going to slide that out of the way. Okay, so there's my letter. Now we're going to do some kind of detail on the edges, so I'm going to, and I think it's about 2 inches, so I'm going to give myself a border around here. Click the rectangle tool and just drag anywhere around there, drag a rectangle. It's going to drop a big black square right over the top of your letter. Down here in the lower left hand we have a couple squares. I'm going to click the square, the black square back here. I'm going to click that so that one is on front. If I click this white one with the line through it, that one will be in front. So I'm going to click the black one so that one comes up in front, and I'm going to click this down underneath there. I'm going to click the button that says None, and then I'm going to click the if you hover over it, it says Stroke. I'm going to click that one so that comes up front, and I'm going to go over here and change it to a color. It doesn't matter what it is, we'll delete it later. Okay, so now that gives me a black line going around the border, and I'm going to set this border to a specific size. Make sure this link between these two numbers, make sure that link is it's like a chain. Make sure that's unlinked, and put in here, let's do 8 for your width, or the W, and 8 for your height. Hit enter, and then right next to it, this is going to line up the center, and I want that to be right in the center of my square. So I'm going to make that 6 because we have a 12-inch square, and I'm going to make this 6. Hit enter. So you should see 6, 6, 8, and 8, and your square should be kind of centered inside of there. All right. Up here, grab the arrow at the very top. It's a selection tool, and select your letter once again. Now you have these handlebars, these little arrows that you can drag this thing to be a little bit bigger. I don't want to go right to the edge because, like I said, I'm going to put a decorative border. We're going to do something with the border on there. So I'm going to kind of drag it down in that direction and drag it up in that direction. I don't want to lose proportion. I want the letter to look still pretty good. So sometimes you'll stretch a letter and it won't look like that, the shape that you want it to be. So I'm leaving a little bit of gap between my letter and that border we just made. And that looks pretty good to me. I'm just looking at spacing, seeing how it all will line up on my piece of concrete stone that we're going to make. That looks pretty good. So I'll click off of it to kind of drop that into place. And now I got to do something for the laser to be able to cut out this letter, because we're going to use that as kind of a stamping tool. So I'm going to click on the letter, and you'll see the blue box go around it. And then I'm going to go back to those boxes we were just messing with. And the first one I'm going to click is this one. This is the stroke or the outline one. It's the white kind of square outline. I'm going to click on that. Actually, I'm going to double click on it. And that should bring up a color picker. And this will allow me to change the color. This little R stands for red, and I want to give that a value right there of 255, and click enter. There we go. And then up here at the top you'll see the word stroke and a number right after it. I'm going to highlight that 1 PT for 1 point, and I'm going to type in 0.01, enter, and that's going to set my line to be a thin red line going around that black M. And then the last thing that I'm going to do with my letter is click on the color in the background here, and we're going to hit the white square with the red line through it, and that will make my letter now no color or no fill. Click off it. Now you should see your border with your letter with a thin red outline around it. Okay, last thing I want you to do is click on your border that you were using to size up your letter and hit the delete button. So all you have now is the letter itself. Go up, do a file, save as, and go ahead and save this. Just save it to your desktop. Hit the drop down right here and save that to, scroll all the way to the top, save it to your desktop and give it, or make sure that it's still titled what you want it. Click save, and then I will give you a flash drive to be able to drag it over onto the flash drive so I can cut it out with a laser. That's it.